I'm Grizzly Greg. Hit that thumbs up button. Drop a comment. Always smash that subscribe button. Thank you to my sponsor, Pandemic Performance. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and pandemicperformance.com for all your performance needs. Enjoy the video. Alright everybody, it's a wrenching weekend on the blue Grizzly. As you can see, Memorial Day weekend, I go to get this thing out of the garage, load it on the trailer. It started really weird. Let it idle, kind of sounded like it might have been a dead battery. I let it idle out on the trailer for about 10 minutes, shut it off, turn the key back on, push the start button, and it turned over for like maybe 1 or 2 crankovers, and then it stopped. Check engine light came on, code 12 on the screen. Code 12 can be a little bit tricky. It has to do with the crank positioning sensor, which is this right here. It's part of your Stator assembly. This is an expensive unit. I went with an OEM one. When I buy electrical stuff, the only thing electrical that I'll buy aftermarket off Amazon would be like stuff that's easy to replace, like relays or this starter solenoid relay. So I got an OEM one here. This ain't cheap. Got the water pump housing gasket and the side engine cover gasket. You're gonna need them too. Them are the 3 parts you're gonna need to replace this piece. Hopefully this will take care of it. The starter solenoid relay is good. The battery's putting out 12.5 volts. All the wiring looks okay in there, but there could be something effy somewhere. But regardless, here's what I did. This is what I'm going with, and let's take this thing apart. Alright, the first step would be to crack your plastic up here so you can get the radiator cap to crack that loose. I take this cover off my overflow tank just to get it more, whatever, pressure, vacuum. The drain plug for the water pump is right here. That stuff shoots out way out here, so make sure you have your pail ready back here. And it slowly goes back. 3 mounting bolts hold on your water pump. And this is your water pump, and that's in pretty good shape as far as I can tell. So I'll get in there a little bit more, but next is to disconnect all this wiring, get this wire hanging out over here, and then start cracking all these bolts loose, all these 8mm all the way around, and then this cover should come off. Oh, don't forget to drain your oil too. I forgot to. That's an important thing, because you can take this cover off, all that oil is going to come out onto the ground. So, on to the next step. Alright, so you unplug this plug off the bottom of your rectifier, or voltage regulator, and then you gotta kind of swish it around. Here we go. And you got this little guy that's in the same harness, and then that goes through the top of the engine to the other side. So if I just push on this like this, you can get this back through there. Just kind of get that started. I'll go around to the other side of the 4-wheeler, and I'm hoping there's the little plug, and just kind of fish it. Don't want to force it too much. There's the other plug. There's your harness, hanging out in the open. Next, take the side cover off. Alright, so I sprayed the case down with a little brake cleaner and clean it up, so if there was any dirt or dust or leaves or grass that might have been around the spot where it's gonna break, that I don't drop that into the engine, because once you pop this cover off, it's the internal part of your engine. And this is my 3rd bolt I'm getting out here. I probably could grab the impact gun, but yeah, so I think all these bolts are going to be the same length. I'll grab one down here. It's important when you take stuff apart that you keep track of the size bolts. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. stuff that I forget to do on a regular basis. Yeah, same size. So they should be all the same size. So I'm gonna get rest of them bolts out, and I'll be back with you. Don't forget about this little drain or breather, or whatever this is. And get that off. I almost forgot about that. So I had to basically cut that breather off on the bottom there. If anybody knows what, like, this thing is plugged, like tight, like all the way up here. It's solid, full of dirt. If anybody watches this part of the video and can tell me what effects that would have, maybe I'd be interested. But I'm gonna stick a new one on. Okay, got the cover off. These two little dowels, if they fall off your case, they're for your water pump cover. Took me about 20 minutes to figure that out. But anyway, you had 3 Allens right here, 2 Allens right here, 2 Allens right here. The 3 Allens, one in here. Take note, the stator's got this little piece right here bolted on the back of it. That goes down and it fits in this slot. So take that note. And then pretty straightforward. You see how there's shoulders on the CPS sensor here. Them go in, and it points at, actually goes in like this, excuse me, and it points at the flywheel. So that's pretty self-explanatory, and everything is pretty easy to understand there. So just got my carbon choke cleaner out here and my razor blade. I'm going around. I started up here. As you can see, I got her pretty clean to about right here in this corner. I got this half to do yet, and then you gotta do the same thing on the case, which is more of a pain in the dick. So I'm gonna continue on scraping gasket. That's the time-consuming part. Reminder, this is your engine oil in here. So if you get any gasket material in here, which I did here, make sure you kind of hold upside down and spray it out. So that's what I'll be doing after I'm done scraping all this gasket material off. Okay, I apologize. I just realized I skipped a step showing you how everything went back in. It's pretty self-explanatory. Where the big rubber piece goes onto your outside case, I stuck a little bit of red gasket maker around the outside perimeter of it here on the cover here to help seal it a little bit better. It's easier if you do take the water pump housing off, because you can make sure you line it up with the oil pump gear. It's like a slot. It's like a slot like this. See if I can hold it up here. It's like a slot like this. Then the water pump comes in like this and turns, and it hits the slot. As the oil pump turns, it turns the water pump. So you gotta have them lined up. You can do it leaving this housing on, but it's easier if you can just kind of go like this, whatever. I put the starter motor clutch and middle gear on the engine case, and everything went together perfectly. You shouldn't have to force anything. It just fell right together, no problems. I just gotta basically torque these a little bit more. I think the spec on them is like 5 or 7 foot-pounds or something like that. So basically what I do is I just grab the head of the ratchet and basically just do that, and that's all I'm gonna do, because these were not that tight when I broke them loose. I broke them all loose with this, and it wasn't, you don't need a whole lot of muscle. So this is just aluminum that they're threading into, so you don't want to strip the threads. So I'm gonna tighten all these bolts up, put the water pump housing back on. That gasket's actually metal, so that helps. So I got that right here, and then I'm gonna fill her up with oil. I'm gonna run these wires back through the engine on that way, plug them back in, fill the engine up with oil, fill the coolant up, and fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. Hopefully that takes care of my issues.